Get it recording. So this is your 7 a.m. gentle yoga class. And, I meant to remind you too, you're doing the bingo thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, buddy. Well, I think we're just gonna start in an easy seated position. And for me, because my hips are my trouble spot, I'll always put like a block or a blanket or something up under my hips. Take a moment to sit up nice and tall and then feel the place where your legs connect to the ground. Whether that's in your sit bones, in your thighs or your shins. Just allow yourself to feel supported by the earth under you. And start to connect with your breath. Just noticing it. And now that you're paying attention to your breath, you might start to even out your inhales and your exhales. Filling your lungs all the way to the top on the inhale. Completely emptying the lungs on the exhale. That way you can create space for that new, big, beautiful breath to come in. And from here, we'll start some gentle neck stretches. You can drop your right ear over to your right shoulder and reach both fingertips down towards the mat. If you want to, you can take your right hand to the outside of the left ear to gently draw the head, but you don't want to pull on your head. Your head's pretty heavy already, but just to act as a guide. One more breath, and then release the head back to center. Drop your left ear over to the left shoulder. And your choice if you want to use that hand as a guide to lengthen the side of your neck. And release the head back to center. You can take some shoulder rolls if you want to. Rolling the shoulders back and forward. And Do one at a time if you want. Then we'll move over to the side a little bit deeper this time with a full side stretch. So inhale your arms up overhead. And then exhale, release over to your right side. And you can bring the right fingertips down to the mat if you want, or you can leave them lifted. See if you can start creating space in the rib cage, more space to breathe. If you feel like you're getting too crunched up on the right side, you can always lift up a little bit. That way you've got breathing room on both sides. And when you're ready, come back up to center and over to the left side. And bring both hands up to center and release them down. And we'll take a really easy, nice twist just so that we're moving our spine in all directions, and you do you. But I like to put my right hand on my left knee and my left hand behind me. Sit up nice and tall. And then from here, I just let my inhales pull me up, almost like I've got a string on the crown of my head that's drawing me upwards, making my spine longer. And then every time I exhale, if my body wants to go deeper into the twist, I let it relax into the twist. Slowly release back through center, and then switch sides, bringing your left hand to your right knee, right hand behind you. Starting from a tall, lengthened spine, and then letting the exhale drop you into your twist. Decide if you need a little bit more time or a little less time on this side, since your two sides can feel pretty different. And when you feel even, when you feel balanced, we'll meet back at the center. And we're going to come to a tabletop position, so you can just rock forward onto your knees. And you can keep the toes tucked, or you can release the tops of your feet down to the mat, whichever you prefer. And with tabletop, your shoulders are stacked over your wrists and your hips are stacked over your knees. let your hip width apart. From here, we'll move through some cat-cows. So as you inhale, drop your belly, lift your tailbone, lift the crown of your head, and exhale, release, round the spine in the opposite direction. Let the head hang loose. And move through with your breath. Inhaling to cow, exhaling to cat. Oh, 3 more. Yes, you're the cat. You heard your name. You move through with your own breath. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. When you finish your last cat, come back to a neutral spine, a neutral tabletop, and we'll start to balance a little bit. So from your tabletop, start to shift the weight into your left knee, and try to really engage the core, because my tendency is just to let my hips go wonky, kind of do the side to side thing. But if I engage my core, if I kind of suck in my belly button a little bit, then I can keep my hips level as I take weight out of my right foot. So we're going to take our right leg behind us, and it doesn't have to look too pretty, but you want to send that energy back to the back wall, kind of like you're kicking it. And if you're feeling pretty okay here and you want to challenge your balance some more, you can shift weight into your right palm and start to lift your left hand. So we're going opposites, right foot and left hand. Lift up, and your gaze can be down at the mat, it can be up in front of you, whatever feels okay on your neck. And if you start to wobble a little, that's okay, because that means you're getting stronger. And then set down your hand, set down your knee. Again, shake it out. Take whatever organic movements you need to release some tension. And we'll reset up for the other side. So this time, bring your weight into your right side, your right knee. But engage that core so that you can keep those hips level. And I do find that if I have my back toe tucked, then that helps stabilize me a little bit. And once you've got that left leg up behind you, and if you choose to, you can start lifting up that right hand in front of you. So that you're challenging your balance, strengthening your core, and release back down to tabletop. Shake it out, wiggle it out, whatever feels good. And we'll move into a child's pose. So from tabletop, your knees come wide to the edge of your mat, big toes come together, send your hips back to your heels, and you can reach your hands in front of you. If it feels good to do so, you can rest your forehead on the mat or on a block or a stack of books or whatever you've got handy. Sometimes that can feel really good on the neck. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Notice if it feels different than it did a few minutes ago when we started. It might not, and that's okay. But we'll continue to make room for the breath. From child's pose, move into a down dog. So you can come up onto your knees. We can kind of move through tabletop. For me, I have to move my hands one handprint forward on the mat, just so that I have enough leg room. And then when you're ready, tuck your toes, lift your knees, lift your hips. And then you can start to pedal out your down dog by straightening one leg and then the other. Maybe hinging back and forth a little bit, warming up your shoulders. And then you can settle into your down dog, and you can bend your knees as much as you need to so that you can press your heart towards your thighs. Then gaze forward to the spot between your hands on your mat, and we're going to tiptoe our feet all the way up to meet our hands so that you can come into a forward fold and let everything hang loose. Let your arms hang loose, let your head hang loose, and you can shake your head yes and shake your head no. You can sway side to side if you want a little bit with your arms. And on your next inhale, we'll start to roll up slowly through the spine, taking your time, starting to stack each vertebra. And letting your head and neck stay relaxed until everything underneath is stacked to support it. And let your shoulders fall down and back away from your ears. And from mountain pose, take a minute and root down through your feet. You can have your feet hip width apart, or you can have your big toes touching, whichever makes you feel more stable. And kind of rock back and forth. See where your weight is at. If your weight's in the balls of your feet and your heels. But then kind of find that sweet spot where you feel totally balanced, totally grounded to the mat. From here, inhale your arms up overhead for extended mountain. And exhale, forward fold. You can bring your hands through heart center if you want. And inhale to a halfway lift. Bring your hands to your shins or your thighs. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and back away from the ears. And if you suck your belly button into your spine and engage your core, you can start to find a flat back here. Exhale, forward fold. Relax everything, and then inhale, big move, sweep your arms up overhead for extended mountain, and exhale, forward fold. And plant your hands on the mat, step your left foot back. We're going straight into a low lunge. So if you step your left foot back, you got your right foot forward in a lunge. And then you can drop your back knee. We're just coming up into like a kneeling crescent. So when you've got your weight centered, you can lift your arms up. If this feels okay. So you've got a little bit of balance, a little bit of quad stretch. And from here, if the twisting feels okay for you, you want to open up your arms to your right side. So the same side as your front foot. Take a few breaths here. And inhale your arms back up to center. Release them on the inside of your front foot. And if you are feeling up to a little bit of a runner's lunge this morning, you can toe heel your right foot to the right corner of your mat. You can come into a little bit deeper of a leg lunge. If it's not your jam, don't have to. And we won't stay here super long, just enough to start opening the hips, warming up the legs. And start to scooch that foot back to center. And if you bring weight into your front hands, framing your front foot, you can send that front foot back to shake it out a little bit. Maybe stretch it out a little bit. And then we'll come back to tabletop and switch sides. So all you have to do is bring your left foot forward between your hands. Find your balance and rise up to your kneeling crescent. And when you're ready, open up to the back wall. And a gentle twist. And be kind to yourself if this side doesn't feel the same as the first side. That's pretty much all of us, you know. Don't get down on yourself if you think, I can't go as far as I could on this side or what have you. No judgment. Loving your body where it's at. Then come back to center. Release both hands down on the inside of your front foot. If you want to take your runner's lunge, you can scoot that foot up to the corner. You might need to readjust the back knee a little bit. Right to toe heel that foot back to center. Once you've got your hands on the mat, send the front foot back, shake it out, stretch it out, do whatever feels good. And then we'll take another moment in child's pose to reset, reconnect to the breath. Take one more breath in your child's pose, a full inhale, and this time a full exhale out the mouth, sighing out everything. Cleansing breath. And on your next inhale, start to bring yourself up to seated. You can just bring your legs out in front of you. And from here, we're going to take a little bit of a seated forward fold. And this one has never really felt good to me. So I like using a lot of blocks, blankets. I think from years and years of public school PE classes, I've been taught that, to touch my toes, my legs have to be straight. And usually my back doesn't like that. So the beauty about this is that you can bend your knees. You can make it really, if you wanted to, you could make it a very restorative pose. But I like to kind of have something up under my legs a little bit. And if not, that's cool too. But you want to start from a lengthened spine so that as you exhale, you can lead with your heart over your thighs. And then from here, if you want to just drop your hands and stay with a flat back, you can. If you want to completely collapse over your legs, and if it feels okay to round your spine, you can do that. But I think the reason why I keep coming back to this pose is it is a very good one to help me practice listening to my body and listening to my threshold. Slowly, slowly, slowly. It took you a long time to get here, so you can take a long time coming out. Lift yourself back up. Windshield wiper the legs a little bit if you need to. And then from here, since you've got your legs out in front of you, bend your right leg, set your foot on the outside of your left leg. You can kind of give your knee a hug. So we're kind of in a half pretzel sort of deal here. And some days I take a really deep twist on this. Some days I don't twist at all. Like today, this is where I'm at and this feels really good. So find out where you're at today. If you do choose to take the twist, make sure that you're sitting up nice and tall. You can place your right hand behind you and start to look over your right shoulder. One more breath here before we get ready to move. Release the right leg out in front of you. Take whatever movement that you need and switch sides so that you're placing your left foot on the outside of your right thigh. Give that knee a good hug and then decide if this is where you're at this morning or if you want to include twisting in it. And slowly come back to center. Release the leg back down to the ground. Shake it out one last time. And then we're going to make our way onto our backs. And you can take the route that's easiest for you. But I like to hang on to the backs of my thighs and just roll down. And then bend your knees so that you can have both feet flat on the mat. And from here, cross your right ankle over your left knee. And then let your right knee drop open so that you're coming into a figure 4. Option to stay here, or you can start to lift the left foot off the mat. And as you draw it towards yourself, you can even put your hands behind that left thigh and draw it towards you. Start to lower that foot down to the mat, coming out the same way that you came in, uncrossing your legs. If you want to, you can let the knees knock together to release the low back a little bit. And then set up for your figure 4 on the other side, crossing your left ankle over your right knee. Let the right foot come up off the mat as you bring the right leg towards you. And slowly start to release the legs back down to the mat. First, your right foot comes to the mat, then your left foot uncrosses. And you can windshield wiper your legs back and forth if that feels good. And from here, we're going to move into waterfall or legs up the wall pose. So if you need to readjust or find a wall, if you don't have a wall, you can do it against an imaginary wall. If you do have a wall, my laptop so you can see. If you do have a wall, the way that I normally get into it is I sit really close up to the wall, and then I will, I don't do it gracefully, let's just say that. I get my butt really close to the wall, and then I get one leg up and then the other. And this should be a really comfortable resting pose. So if it doesn't feel good on your low back, you can put something up under your hips so that you're not at a 90-degree angle. We're going to get ready to move out of waterfall. And the easiest way to come out of waterfall is to walk your heels down along the wall over to one side, whichever side you pick, so that you're kind of rolling over onto your side. And then you can use your hands to press yourself back up. So getting out is a little easier than getting in. And we're going to set up for our final Shavasana. So if there's any last minute movements that you want, you can take those movements. If you want to take a few rock and rolls, you can. If you want to squeeze a happy baby in there, you can do that too. But whenever you're ready, you can find your resting pose, your corpse pose. And that might be with your legs out straight in front of you and your arms resting by your sides. It might be with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor, if that feels better on your back. Or you might want to rest one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart, so that you can feel your heartbeat, feel your breath. Whenever you found your resting pose, take a moment to thank your body for the hard work that it does for you. Thank yourself for taking time to come to your mat today, to spend the time and energy doing yoga. Start to deepen your breathing. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your belly with each breath in and each breath out. Start to bring some awareness back into your body. You might take some small movements with your fingers or your toes. You can roll your wrists and your ankles in little circles. And when you feel ready to move, you can start to roll over onto your right side, bringing your knees in towards your chest and using your arms as a pillow. That way you can use your hands to press yourself up to seated, and you can keep your eyes closed if you want, or you can keep your gaze soft. And then feeling supported by the earth underneath you, feeling rooted, feeling strong. Take one last breath in through your nose, big deep breath filling up your lungs, and exhale in a big sigh out of your mouth. Let your shoulders relax. And I hope you feel ready for your awesome Tuesday. Thanks for doing yoga with me so early in the morning.
Thank you. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have an awesome rest of your day and namaste.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.